The Sinking City. If you're a fan of detective stories with a love crash and twist, then you're in for a treat. This game is like Sherlock Holmes meets Cthulhu, mysterious, eerie, and just the right amount of weird. You play as Charles Reed, a private investigator who's seen better days. He arrives in the city of Oakmont, which is, well, sinking. And not just literally, the place is drowning in madness and supernatural shenanigans. Your job is to figure out what's going on and why you're having all these crazy visions. Gameplay-wise, The Sinking City is a mix of detective work, exploration, and combat. You'll spend a lot of time looking for clues, interrogating suspects, and piecing together what's happening. It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, but with more tentacles and ancient curses. And just when you think you've got it all figured out, the game throws another curveball your way. Keeps you on your toes, like a caffeine-fueled night of binge-watching mystery shows.
Warning, no second chances.
Visually, the game nails the eerie, unsettling atmosphere. Oakmont is a city that looks like it's been through the ringer. Flooded streets, creepy old buildings, and lots of fog. The character models and animations are solid, and the monsters? They're straight out of your worst nightmares, in the best way possible. It's like walking through a haunted house, but you're the detective trying to make sense of it all. Those who love a good mystery and don't mind a slower pace rave about the game's story and atmosphere. The detective mechanics are engaging, and the Lovecraftian elements add a unique flavor that sets it apart from other games. Though I wish the combat was a bit tighter, but hey, you can't have everything. So, if you're in the mood for a game that's more about unraveling a spooky mystery than blasting through hordes of enemies, The Sinking City is a must-play. It's got a captivating story, a creepy atmosphere, and enough twists to keep you guessing until the end. Just don't forget to keep an eye out for things that go bump in the night. Trust me, Oakmont is full of surprises. Telltale's Tales from the Borderlands. If you love a good laugh mixed with some high-stakes adventure, this game is going to be right up your alley. It's like if Mad Max had a baby with a stand-up comedian, pure chaos and comedy gold. You play as Ryse, a corporate stooge with dreams of becoming the next Handsome Jack, and Fiona, a con artist just trying to make a buck in the wild world of Pandora. The story is told from both of their perspectives, and trust me, it's a roller coaster of lies, betrayal, and awkward moments. Imagine trying to impress your crush while tripping over your own feet, but with more explosions. Gameplay-wise, this is classic Telltale. It's all about making choices, quick-time events, and dialogue trees that can branch out into some pretty wild directions. Your decisions matter and will shape the story, so no pressure or anything. The quick-time events keep you on your toes, and the dialogue? Well, let's just say you'll be laughing out loud more than once. It's like being part of an interactive comic book with a script that's sharper than Claptrap's tongue. Visually, Tales from the Borderlands nails the Borderlands aesthetic. It's got that comic book cel-shaded style that makes everything pop with color and character. The environments are detailed and filled with all the quirky, dangerous charm you'd expect from Pandora. Plus, the character animations are smooth, making every expression and action come to life. It's like watching a Saturday morning cartoon, but with more bandits and loot. I love the humor, the story, and the memorable characters. So, if you're in the mood for a game that's more about laughs and narrative than grinding and gunning, Tales from the Borderlands is a must-play. It's got a hilarious story, great characters, and enough twists and turns to keep you hooked from start to finish.
What the hell is that?
Dreamfall Chapters.
She's all alone. I know that.
If you're into deep, complex narratives with a side of fantastical worlds, then buckle up, this one's a wild ride. You play as 3 different characters, Zoe Castillo, Kian Alvain, and Saga. Each has their own unique story that intertwines with the others in ways that'll keep you guessing until the very end. It's like playing 3 amazing TV shows at once, except you get to be the director, writer, and main character. Talk about multitasking. Gameplay-wise, Dreamfall Chapters is all about exploring, solving puzzles, and making choices that impact the story. It's linear, but with plenty of branching paths that make every playthrough feel unique. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a good moral dilemma? It's like The Sims, but with higher stakes and way more drama.
All is well. Don't take her from me. Please don't. I can't do this again. I cannot do this again.
Visually, the game is a feast for the eyes. The worlds are beautifully crafted, from the cyberpunk streets of Europolis to the magical landscapes of Arcadia. Each environment is packed with detail, making it feel alive and immersive. The character designs are equally impressive, bringing the diverse cast to life in a way that's both vibrant and realistic. It's like stepping into a fantasy novel, but without the paper cuts. I love the rich storytelling, complex characters, and the way the game seamlessly blends sci-fi and fantasy elements. So, if you're looking for a game that's heavy on story and light on mindless action, Dreamfall Chapters is a must-play.
I've been sent to this city to find and assassinate the leader of the insurgents opposing our benevolent military rule.
Tell me why.
Feels impossible.
If you're into narrative-driven games that pack an emotional punch, this one's definitely for you. And no, it's not a Backstreet Boys song, but it'll have you feeling all the feels just the same. You play as twins Tyler and Allison, who reunite after years apart to unravel the mysteries of their troubled past. It's like playing detective in your own family drama, but without the awkward Thanksgiving dinners. The game's linear, so you can focus on the story without getting sidetracked by side quests, perfect for those of us with the attention span of a goldfish.
You're my brother.
Gameplay-wise, it's all about exploring, making choices, and experiencing the story. The twins have a unique bond that lets them communicate telepathically, which adds a cool twist to solving puzzles and making decisions. Plus, you get to switch between playing as Tyler and Allison, so it's like getting two perspectives for the price of one. And let's be real, who doesn't love a good twin telepathy moment?
Whenever we see or hear something really emotional.
Visually, Tell Me Why looks awesome. The art style is just soothing. The Alaskan setting is beautifully rendered, making you want to book a trip to the Great White North, minus the family secrets, of course. It's like watching a really good indie film, but you get to call the shots. The way the game handles sensitive topics with care and authenticity is truly commendable. It's like a masterclass in storytelling. So, if you're in the mood for a game that's more about heart than high scores, Tell Me Why is a must-play. It's got a gripping story, gorgeous visuals, and characters that'll stay with you long after the credits roll.
I can't do this. Stop!
Beyond Two Souls. Alright, let's dive into Beyond Two Souls. If you're into games that feel more like interactive movies, then buckle up, because this one's got a story that'll grab you by the feels and not let go. You play as Jodie Holmes, a girl with a mysterious connection to a supernatural entity named Aiden. The game jumps back and forth through different periods of Jodie's life, and let me tell you, it's a wild ride. From her childhood to adulthood, you get to see how she grows and deals with her unique abilities. It's like watching a gripping TV series, but you get to make the decisions. Imagine being able to yell at the characters in a horror movie to not open that door, and they actually listen. Gameplay-wise, it's all about choices and consequences. Every decision you make impacts the story, and there are multiple endings based on what you do. The action sequences are intense, and the emotional moments hit hard. I remember one scene where Jodie is just trying to find a bit of normalcy in her life, and it really got to me. It's these personal, relatable moments that make the game stand out. Plus, there's something deeply satisfying about using Aiden to mess with people. A little harmless payback for all those times you couldn't stand up to your boss in real life. Visually, Beyond Two Souls is stunning. The characters, especially Jodie and other major characters, look incredibly lifelike. The environments are detailed and varied, taking you from snowy landscapes to bustling cities. The graphics make the whole experience feel even more immersive. So, if you're looking for a game that's more about story and emotion than action, Beyond Two Souls is a must-play on both PC and PlayStation. It's got a unique narrative structure, stunning visuals, and moments that'll stay with you long after you've put down the controller. Trust me, this is one emotional roller coaster you don't want to miss. And hey, if nothing else, you can finally live out your fantasy of having a ghostly sidekick. Just try not to scare your neighbors too much.
You need to...
Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1.
After being cooped up on that boat, I am...
Alright, let's crack the case with Sherlock Holmes. If you've ever dreamed of being the world's greatest detective, minus the deerstalker hat, or with it, no judgment, then this game is going to be right up your alley. You step into the shoes of a young Sherlock Holmes, back when he was just starting to make a name for himself. He's not quite the polished sleuth we all know and love yet, but he's getting there. The story kicks off with Sherlock returning to his Mediterranean home to investigate his mother's death. It's a mix of personal drama and classic whodunit, and trust me, it's a gripping ride from start to finish. Gameplay-wise, it's all about investigating, solving puzzles, and making those famous deductions. You'll explore an open-world city, talking to witnesses, gathering clues, and piecing together what happened. The game gives you a lot of freedom to approach cases in different ways, so put on your thinking cap and get ready to do some serious sleuthing. And let's not forget the occasional brawl. Sherlock can throw down when he needs to, and it's surprisingly fun. Visually, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 is stunning. The Mediterranean setting is vibrant and detailed, from sun-drenched streets to shadowy alleys. I love the rich storytelling and deep detective mechanics. The character development is particularly praised, giving us a fresh take on a younger, less experienced Sherlock. Though the open world can feel a bit empty at times, but the engaging cases more than make up for it. So, if you're looking for a game that lets you flex your brain muscles while diving into a good mystery, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 is a must-play. It's got an intriguing story, beautiful visuals, and all the detective work you could ever want. Grab your magnifying glass and get ready to solve some crimes. Just remember, it's never as simple as it seems, but hey, that's half the fun. Happy sleuthing! Syberia: The World Before. If you're a fan of captivating stories and beautiful atmospheric worlds, then this game is going to sweep you off your feet. In Syberia: The World Before, you follow the adventures of two protagonists, Dana Rose, a talented pianist living in 1937, and the series' beloved Kate Walker, who's navigating her own challenges in 2004. The game masterfully weaves their stories together, creating a rich tapestry of mystery, history, and emotional depth. It's like watching a thrilling drama unfold, but you're the one pulling the strings.
Not to get involved in your harebrained...
Gameplay-wise, it's all about exploration, puzzle solving, and piecing together the past. You'll travel through beautifully crafted environments, from the quaint pre-war European towns to the more desolate industrial landscapes of Kate's time. The puzzles are challenging but fair, making you feel like a genius detective when you finally crack them. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a good brain teaser that doesn't involve assembling IKEA furniture? The dual timeline narrative is particularly praised, adding a layer of complexity that keeps you hooked from start to finish. So, if you're in the mood for a game that's rich in story, packed with beautiful visuals, and full of intriguing puzzles, Syberia: The World Before is a must-play. It's got a captivating narrative that will keep you glued to your screen, characters you'll genuinely care about, and a world that's begging to be explored. Judgment Games by RGG Studios. If you've ever wanted to blend the thrill of a legal drama with the gritty action of a crime thriller, then this game is going to be your jam. It's like Law & Order meets Yakuza, and trust me, it's every bit as awesome as it sounds. You play as Takayuki Yagami, a disgraced lawyer turned private detective in the bustling, neon-lit streets of Kamurocho. Yagami is trying to rebuild his life by solving cases and uncovering the truth behind a series of grisly murders. It's a story filled with twists, turns, and plenty of OMG moments that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Gameplay-wise, Judgment is a perfect blend of investigation and beat-em-up action. One minute you're gathering clues, interrogating suspects, and piecing together evidence like a true detective. The next, you're brawling with thugs in the streets, using a mix of martial arts moves and environmental takedowns that make every fight feel cinematic. It's like living out your favorite crime drama, but with way more flying kicks. Visually, Judgment looks stunning. The city of Kamurocho is brought to life with incredible detail, from the bustling streets filled with colorful signs and lively crowds to the quieter, shadowy alleys where danger lurks. The character models and facial animations are top-notch, making every cutscene and interaction feel lifelike. It's like stepping into a high-budget TV series. I love the deep, engaging story in the mix of detective work and action. The characters are well-developed and memorable. Many players appreciate how the game tackles serious themes while still having moments of levity and humor, a signature of RGG Studios' style. So, if you're looking for a game that combines a gripping story, intense action, and a dash of detective work, Judgment is a must-play. It's got everything you'd want from a crime thriller, a compelling protagonist, a detailed world to explore, and plenty of mysteries to solve. Grab your controller, put on your detective hat, and get ready to uncover the truth. This is one case you won't want to miss.
Let's go!
Underground Blossom. This game is developed by Rusty Lake, known for their unique, eerie, and atmospheric puzzle games. If you're a fan of quirky, atmospheric puzzle games with a dash of the surreal, then this one's going to be right up your alley. It's like stepping into a bizarre dream where every corner hides a new mystery. In Underground Blossom, you find yourself navigating through a series of interconnected rooms and environments, each filled with strange and intriguing puzzles. The story is rich with Rusty Lake's signature blend of dark humor and eerie atmosphere. You'll uncover hidden secrets, solve mind-bending puzzles, and piece together a narrative that's as mysterious as it is compelling. It's like being trapped in an escape room designed by David Lynch. Gameplay-wise, it's all about exploration and puzzle solving. Each room you enter presents a new challenge, requiring you to think outside the box and use your keen observational skills. The puzzles are cleverly designed, making you feel both challenged and rewarded as you progress. And trust me, nothing beats the satisfaction of solving a particularly tricky puzzle after staring at it for what feels like forever. Visually, Underground Blossom is a treat. The art style is distinct and atmospheric, capturing the surreal and slightly unsettling vibe that Rusty Lake is known for. The environments are richly detailed, drawing you into the game's strange world and keeping you hooked from one puzzle to the next. It's like wandering through a beautifully crafted nightmare, but in the best way possible. So overall, it was an absolutely incredible game. I love Rusty Lake games so much, and I'm thrilled every time a new one comes out. Their works of art, everything about them, the artwork, the sound production, the music, the eerie voice work, truly spectacular. There's so much story packed into this game. Absolutely beautiful. So, if you're in the mood for a puzzle game that's equal parts strange and captivating, Underground Blossom is a must-play. It's got an intriguing story, beautiful visuals, and puzzles that will keep you hooked from start to finish. Grab your controller, dive into the surreal world of Rusty Lake, and get ready for a journey that's as bizarre as it is rewarding. Trust me, this is one puzzle game you won't forget anytime soon. Murder on the Orient Express.
Journey on this train is ever ordinary.
If you're a fan of classic murder mysteries and love the idea of playing detective, then this game is going to be your cup of tea. It's like stepping into one of the greatest whodunits ever written, with you in the detective seat. You play as a new character working alongside the legendary Hercule Poirot, the mustachioed master of deduction. The story stays true to Agatha Christie's timeless novel, but with a few twists and turns to keep things fresh for fans and newcomers alike. It's a linear narrative, which means you'll be following the clues and piecing together the mystery without getting lost in side plots. Gameplay-wise, it's all about investigation and puzzle solving. You'll interrogate suspects, gather clues, and use your keen detective skills to unravel the mystery of who killed Samuel Ratchet aboard the luxurious train. Each character you meet has secrets, and it's up to you to uncover them. It's like playing a game of Clue, but way more sophisticated and with a lot more at stake.
The wallet is somewhat warm. It contains...
Visually, the game does a fantastic job of bringing the opulence of the Orient Express to life. The train is beautifully detailed, with rich interiors that make you feel like you're really aboard a 1930s luxury liner. And honestly, this game is one of the better offerings for microids. I thoroughly enjoyed the puzzles. The setting of the game is visually pleasing, graphics is fantastic, voice acting is very well performed. Overall, I recommend this game to any detective point and click-style game lover. So, if you're in the mood for a classic whodunit with a modern twist, Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express is a must-play. It's got a gripping story, stunning visuals, and enough puzzles to keep your little gray cells working overtime.
Have you told me the entire truth, Captain Arbuthnot?
Of course. I want you to find my ticket.
Just Cause 2. This is hands down my favorite game from the series. Sure, there are better sequels with updated graphics and features, but there's just something about the second installment that keeps players coming back. It harks back to a time when there weren't any complications or highly advanced features. We all just loved simple exploration and blasting enemy bases. My favorite thing was driving the best cars at high speeds. It was amazing to take a break and free roam in the open world. The Just Cause series is known for its massive destruction. As a player, you are a walking mayhem, capable of immense destruction with insane gadgets and weapons.
You got the memory cards, so I guess we're still one step ahead.
And where does that step take us?
The agency's last contact here on Pentiment.
However, one thing I would like to point out is that sometimes it gets repetitive. You can't really play the entire series without feeling a bit bored, as after a while the enemy bases start to look all the same. So, it's much better to play one game to your heart's content without feeling the repetition. The only reason I mentioned the second part is that it was when the series was at its peak. Nothing was too extraordinary. The best example I can give you is the Fast and Furious series. You could say that Just Cause 2 is like Fast 5, while the other parts are filled with more action, more features, and advanced graphics and visuals. However, in 2024, it would be awesome to revisit the second part.
For you. I'm not here to help you. Unless you can help me find Tom Shannon. What? I thought it was with you.
If you are highly interested in the series, definitely go with the best looking title, which is, in my opinion, Just Cause 3. Nevertheless, I just want to give more love to the OG installment because I have so many great memories with it. I was skipping classes just to play this game. It was such a great feeling to put on music, drive super fast cars, or destroy enemy bases.
From you, Jade Tan. Here's girl, right?
Huh. You must be Spooks. Spooks.
Prototype 2. To be honest, I actually prefer the original Prototype. No matter what, I always love to talk about the original, but I have already mentioned it in several other videos. So, just for now, let's look at some of the plus points of the sequel. Also, if you ever decide to play the series, make sure to start with the original. It's hands down the best one. The sequel works on the original's concept and makes some new changes. For me, the biggest reason I prefer the OG is because the creators added a different character in the second part. I won't spoil anything, but there's a major role for the original protagonist Alex Mercer in the sequel, which is not the ending I was hoping for. Overall, you could say that Prototype 2 is a must-play only if you have played the first part. Now, talking about the core aspects of the game, Prototype isn't anything extraordinary. What made the game so much more fun are the powers and the options to do anything in free roam. This is the only game besides infamous Second Son that introduced some of the craziest superpowers. I had a blast while free roaming and using all my powers for various purposes. You're basically a superhuman in this game who somehow got his powers because of a virus. Now, you can transform your hands into various destructive weapons to cause havoc. Prototype 2 brings closure to the main storyline, and as much as I want another sequel, it just wouldn't feel right. The main story is sort of ended. So, if the creators make a third part, they must add a new main character or create a spin-off. The Prototype series is one of the most underrated gems out there that not many players have tried. Metal Gear Rising. It's awesome that we are talking about this game once again. I'm such a huge fan of Metal Gear Rising and will always be grateful for finding it. To this day, the game holds its own against major fast-paced hack-and-slash games. One of the key features is the soundtrack. I can't even begin to describe the feelings I had while running around and killing enemies with a banger soundtrack in the background. The music just enhances the overall experience and makes you feel like the ultimate ninja. If I'm being completely honest, this is a game that everyone should play, especially those who love the thrill of hack and slash. Another fantastic aspect is the cutscenes. The game is packed with cinematic cutscenes that don't do justice to the file size of the game. Metal Gear Rising offers an incredible amount of content in such a small package. Now, if this doesn't convince you, then let me tell you that the final boss is one of the hardest video game boss battles. The guy has a huge health bar in several phases. At one point, it almost becomes crazy because you wonder why this guy isn't dying already. The developers did a great job with every moment in cutscene. I'm sure you will never get bored or feel the urge to quit. So, if you're looking for a quick banger and just want to slash some enemies, Metal Gear Rising will be your prime pick to revisit in 2024. Shadow of the Colossus. I'm sure that not all of you have heard about this game. It's crazy that after all this time, we still haven't gotten an official PC release. Shadow of the Colossus is an extremely underrated game with huge potential and is loved by many players. No matter what anyone says, my favorite highlight is the storyline. Nothing tops the story, whether it's the graphics, the open world, or the monsters. The overall story is so engaging that it will compel you to complete the game and see the ending. It's a really heartfelt experience. To put it briefly, as a player, your main goal is to hunt down the creatures known as Colossi. So, you are basically spending time looking for these gigantic monsters in a vast open world, which is kind of empty. I mean, it's not your usual Red Dead or Witcher open world. Instead, the game drops you into a somewhat barren open world where there's just land and rocks, with the task of hunting monsters. However, it's not as bad as it sounds. You will be thrilled after realizing how impressive the game actually is, and how it captivates you with its engaging features. Nevertheless, there's no big reason why I included this game other than to highlight its greatness. I just wanted to mention it so that more players find out about this underrated gem. The players who have completed this game all have different opinions, but one thing is confirmed. The game is amazing from gameplay to story, from visuals to music. Everything is top-notch. Let's hope they release it on different platforms. As for now, it's only available on PS4. Quantum Break. If you're into games that blend intense action with a gripping, sci-fi storyline, this game is definitely for you. You play as Jack Joyce, a guy who gains the ability to manipulate time after a failed experiment at a university. The story is linear, but it's packed with twists, turns, and moments that'll have you questioning what's going to happen next. The game combines traditional gameplay with live-action episodes, making it feel like you're part of an interactive TV series.
Going too fast for you?
Gameplay-wise, Quantum Break is all about using your time manipulation powers to fight enemies and solve puzzles. You can freeze time, create time shields, and even dodge bullets like a true action hero. The combat is fast-paced and strategic, requiring you to use your powers creatively to outsmart your enemies. The puzzle-solving elements add a nice change of pace, making you think about how to use your abilities in different ways. It's like being a superhero with a really cool power set.
Hey.
The special effects, especially the time manipulation, are spectacular, creating a sense of chaos and wonder. I really like the unique blend of gameplay and live-action storytelling, the engaging narrative, and the innovative use of time powers. So, if you're looking for a game that offers a mix of action, sci-fi intrigue, and a cinematic experience, Quantum Break is a must-play. Firewatch. Alright, let's dive into Firewatch. If you're into games that offer a rich, immersive narrative with stunning visuals and a touch of mystery, this game is an absolute gem. You play as Henry, a man who takes a job as a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness to escape his troubled life. The story is linear but incredibly engaging, driven by the evolving relationship between Henry and his supervisor, Delilah, who you communicate with via a handheld radio. It's all about exploring the vast, picturesque wilderness and uncovering the secrets it holds. Imagine a mix of Gone Home and a beautifully animated nature documentary with a side of personal drama. Gameplay-wise, Firewatch is all about exploration and dialogue. You'll be hiking through the gorgeous forests, canyons, and lakes of Wyoming, investigating strange occurrences and making choices that affect your relationship with Delilah. The dialogue choices are meaningful and help build a deep, personal connection between the characters. It's a walking simulator, but with enough intrigue and interaction to keep you hooked from start to finish. Visually, Firewatch is stunning. The art style is vibrant and unique, with every vista looking like a painting come to life. The attention to detail in the environment creates an immersive experience, making you feel like you're really there, hiking through the wilderness. The dynamic lighting and weather effects add to the atmosphere, making each moment in the game feel special. It's like taking a virtual vacation in the great outdoors, but with a hint of mystery.
Do you have any idea who would have done this?
So, if you're looking for a game that offers a beautiful, narrative-driven experience with plenty of emotional depth, Firewatch is a must-play. Grab your controller, put on your hiking boots, and get ready to explore the stunning wilderness of Wyoming. This is one journey you won't want to miss. What Remains of Edith Finch. If you're into narrative-driven games that tug at your heartstrings and leave a lasting impression, this one's a must-play. It's like stepping into a beautifully crafted storybook where every chapter reveals a new tale. You play as Edith Finch, returning to her family's quirky and mysterious home to uncover the stories of her relatives. The narrative is linear, but each family member's story is told in a unique, immersive way that makes the experience deeply engaging. It's like exploring a series of short stories each with its own distinct style and emotional weight. Imagine a mix of a graphic novel and a walking simulator, but with a touch of magical realism.
I could tell she was getting really tired.
Gameplay-wise, what remains of Edith Finch is all about exploration and storytelling. You'll wander through the Finch family home, discovering rooms and hidden areas that each reveal a different family member's story. The gameplay mechanics change with each story, keeping things fresh and surprising. From swinging on a swing to flying like a bird, each vignette offers a unique perspective and playstyle. It's like opening a series of beautifully wrapped gifts, each containing a new and unexpected experience. The art style is whimsical yet grounded, creating an atmosphere that's both magical and melancholic. What I really loved is the touching and thought-provoking stories and the beautiful visuals. So, if you're looking for a game that offers a rich, emotional narrative with stunning visuals and unique gameplay, What Remains of Edith Finch is a must-play. Valiant Hearts: The Great War. If you're looking for a game that combines heartfelt storytelling with a unique visual style, this one is a true gem. It's like experiencing a beautifully illustrated historical novel, but you get to be part of the action. You play as several different characters, each with their own story that intertwines with the others, set against the backdrop of World War I. The narrative is linear but deeply engaging, offering a mix of personal drama and historical events. It's like getting a personal tour through some of the most poignant moments of the Great War, with a focus on human connections and the impact of war on individuals. Imagine a history lesson that's both educational and emotionally powerful. Gameplay-wise, Valiant Hearts is a mix of puzzle solving, exploration, and a bit of action. You'll be solving environmental puzzles, navigating through war-torn landscapes, and even engaging in some stealthy maneuvers. Each character has unique abilities that you'll need to use to progress through their stories. The puzzles are cleverly designed, making you think without being too frustrating. It's like playing through a series of interactive vignettes, each with its own challenges and emotional beats. Visually, the art style is hand-drawn and beautifully animated, giving it a distinctive and touching aesthetic. The environments are richly detailed, from the trenches and battlefields to quiet villages and hospitals. So, if you're looking for a game that offers a beautiful blend of storytelling, history, and engaging gameplay, Valiant Hearts: The Great War is a must-play. Detroit: Become Human.
What are you waiting for? Chase it!
If you're into games that offer branching narratives, deep storytelling, and impactful choices, this game is a standout experience. It's like stepping into a futuristic thriller where every decision you make shapes the story, with your choices determining the fate of each character and the world around them. It's like watching a gripping TV series, but you're in control of the plot twists. Imagine a mix of Blade Runner and Westworld, but with even more personal stakes. You'll navigate through beautifully crafted environments, interact with a diverse cast of characters, and make decisions that can have immediate and long-term consequences. The game's branching narrative means that every playthrough can be different, offering a high level of replayability. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure book, but with stunning visuals and intense action sequences. Visually, the game is breathtaking. The futuristic city of Detroit is brought to life with incredible detail, from the sleek high-tech buildings to the gritty downtrodden neighborhoods. The character models and facial animations are some of the best in gaming, making every conversation feel real and emotionally charged. The lighting and special effects add to the immersive experience, making you feel like you're part of a living, breathing world. So, if you're looking for a game that offers a rich narrative, stunning visuals, and choices that truly matter, Detroit: Become Human is a must-play.
Connor! Connor!
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Alright, let's kick things off with Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy by Eidos Montreal. If you're a fan of the MCU or just love some good old space shenanigans, this game is gonna be right up your alley. It's like jumping into a Guardians movie, but you get to call the shots. You play as Star-Lord, the legendary, or at least he thinks so, leader of the Guardians. The game is linear, which means you get a focused, action-packed story without getting lost in endless side missions. And trust me, with the Guardians, there's never a dull moment. The story is filled with hilarious banter, epic battles, and heartwarming moments that'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even dance a little. Gameplay-wise, it's a blast. You'll be flying around, shooting bad guys with Star-Lord's blasters, and calling the shots for the rest of the team. Each Guardian has their own unique abilities, and coordinating them in battle is super satisfying. Plus, the game's dialogue choices mean you can shape the story in small but meaningful ways. It's like being the director of your own space opera. Visually, the game is stunning. The environments are beautifully crafted, from alien planets to the Milano's cozy interior. The character designs are spot on, capturing the quirky charm of the Guardians perfectly. And for the soundtrack, it's packed with 80s hits that'll have you grooving as you blast through enemies. Seriously, it's like a party in your console. So, if you're looking for a game that's got a great story, awesome characters, and a whole lot of fun, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is a must-play. Hi-Fi Rush. If you've ever wondered what it would be like to mix a rhythm game with a high-octane action adventure, this is your answer. It's like someone took a music festival and smashed it into a video game, and the result is nothing short of awesome. In Hi-Fi Rush, you play as Chai, a wannabe rock star with a music player stuck in his chest, turning the world around him into one giant musical. The game is linear, so you get a tight, focused story that keeps you jamming from start to finish. The plot is simple but effective. You're on a mission to bring down an evil corporation, and you're doing it all to the beat. Gameplay-wise, it's a rhythm-action hybrid. You'll be fighting enemies, jumping through levels, and solving puzzles, all in time with the music. The better you sync your actions to the beat, the more powerful you become. It's like Dance Dance Revolution meets Devil May Cry. And don't worry if you don't have perfect rhythm. The game is forgiving enough to let you have fun without feeling like you need to be a musical prodigy. Visually, Hi-Fi Rush is a feast for the eyes. The vibrant, colorful graphics are like a living comic book, and the animation is smooth and stylish. Every punch, kick, and jump is synced to the music, making the whole game feel like one continuous, epic music video. It's basically eye candy for anyone who loves good art and killer beats. I just can't get enough of the unique gameplay and catchy soundtrack. The story, while not overly complex, is engaging and filled with likable characters. The voice acting is solid, adding a lot of personality to Chai and his companions. It's one of those games that's just pure, unadulterated fun. So, if you're in the mood for something fresh and energetic, Hi-Fi Rush is a must-play. It's got a killer soundtrack, innovative gameplay, and visuals that pop. Mafia Definitive Edition. If you've ever dreamed of being in a classic mobster movie, this game is like your ticket to the 1930s underworld. Seriously, it's like stepping right into The Godfather, but you get to be the star. You play as Tommy Angelo, who starts off as a regular cab driver and ends up in the dangerous world of the Salieri crime family. The story is pretty linear, which is great because it keeps things focused and intense. And trust me, this story has all the drama, betrayal, and action you'd want from a gangster flick. Gameplay-wise, Mafia Definitive Edition is pretty decent for a linear game. You've got intense shootouts, thrilling car chases, and plenty of exploration. The gunfights feel super satisfying, and driving those vintage cars through the streets of Lost Heaven is just, well, awesome. The missions are varied, so you never really know what's coming next. One minute you're in a high-stakes heist, the next you're in a tense standoff. It's like living out all your gangster fantasies without the risk of, you know, actual jail time. And as far as it is about the visuals, this game is stunning. The city of Lost Heaven is beautifully recreated with insane attention to detail. From the bustling downtown streets to the shadowy back alleys, it's like stepping into a time machine. The character models and animations are top-notch too, making the story and its cast of characters feel super real.
That's right.
Mafia games are all about their engaging stories, the rich atmosphere, and the faithful recreation of the original Mafia game.
And then extra stuff in your pockets full of Salieri's dirty money.
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Next up is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, a game that combines vibrant visuals with fast-paced action in a futuristic urban setting. If you love games that are all about style and movement, this is one you don't want to miss. In Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, you play as a member of a graffiti crew trying to take over the city by tagging its most iconic spots. The game's world is a sprawling urban playground filled with skyscrapers, alleys, and subway tunnels. It's all about expressing yourself through graffiti while outmaneuvering the authorities and rival crews. The gameplay is a thrilling mix of parkour, skating, and graffiti. You can grind on rails, leap across rooftops, and perform stylish tricks to navigate the city. It's all about maintaining your flow and stringing together moves to keep up your momentum. The graffiti mechanics are also super fun. You can create your own tags and leave your mark all over the city. What makes Bomb Rush Cyberpunk stand out is its incredible style. The game is heavily inspired by the Jet Set Radio series, with a similar colorful CL-shaded art style and an energetic soundtrack. The music, composed by some top-notch artists, keeps the adrenaline pumping and perfectly matches the game's fast-paced action. The characters are just as stylish as the game's visuals. Each member of your crew has a unique look and personality, and as you progress, you'll unlock new abilities and gear that let you explore the city in new ways. The story is light but engaging, focusing on your crew's rise to the top of the graffiti world. Exploring the city is a blast because there's always something new to find. Hidden shortcuts, secret spots for tagging, and various collectibles are scattered throughout the map, encouraging you to explore every nook and cranny. The sense of freedom and movement is incredibly satisfying. If you're into games that blend stylish visuals, high energy music, and fluid, fast-paced gameplay, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is a must-play. It's a game that keeps you hooked with its dynamic action and vibrant world. Viewfinder. Let's talk about Viewfinder, a unique and mind-bending puzzle game that challenges your perception and creativity. This game is a hidden gem that you probably haven't heard of, but is definitely worth checking out. In Viewfinder, you play as a character exploring surreal environments filled with puzzles that defy the laws of physics. The game's main mechanic revolves around using a special camera to take photos, which you can then place into the world to manipulate the environment. This means you can create new paths, move obstacles, and solve puzzles in ways you've never seen before. The story is simple but intriguing. You're trying to uncover the secrets of this strange world, and each puzzle you solve brings you closer to understanding what's really going on. The narrative is woven into the puzzles themselves, making the gameplay feel meaningful and rewarding. What makes Viewfinder stand out is its innovative gameplay. The ability to reshape the world with photographs is both challenging and fun. You need to think outside the box and use your imagination to figure out how to progress. Each level introduces new twists and mechanics, keeping the puzzles fresh and engaging. Visually, the game is a treat. The environments are beautifully designed with a mix of realistic and fantastical elements. The art style is clean and colorful, making it easy to focus on the puzzles while enjoying the scenery. The sound design and music also add to the atmosphere, creating a relaxing yet thought-provoking experience. The game encourages exploration and experimentation. There's no one right way to solve a puzzle, so you can play around with different ideas and solutions. This freedom makes the game feel more like a creative playground than a traditional puzzle game. If you love games that challenge your mind and offer something truly unique, Viewfinder is a must-play. It's a beautifully crafted puzzle game that keeps you thinking and exploring from start to finish.
It's falling apart. What are we doing? This can't be the end of everything we
Trepang 2. Next on our list is Trepang 2, a game that mixes intense first-person shooting with superhuman abilities, creating a high-octane experience that you probably haven't heard of but should definitely check out. In Trepang 2, you play as a super soldier who escapes from a high-security facility. With no memory of your past, you're on a mission to uncover the truth about your origins while taking down enemies with brutal efficiency. The story unfolds through a series of missions that are packed with action and mystery. The gameplay is where Trepang 2 really shines. It's fast-paced and thrilling, with smooth gunplay that makes every firefight feel intense. What sets it apart is your character's superhuman abilities. You can slow down time, cloak yourself to become invisible, and perform powerful melee attacks. These abilities add a strategic layer to the combat, allowing you to approach each encounter in different ways. Visually, the game looks great. The environments are detailed and varied, from sterile labs and industrial complexes to outdoor battlegrounds. The graphics and special effects, especially when using your abilities, make the action look and feel explosive. Trepang 2 also offers a lot of variety in its missions. You'll face different types of enemies, each requiring different tactics to defeat. The levels are designed to encourage exploration and experimentation, giving you the freedom to tackle challenges your way. One of the best things about Trepang 2 is its replayability. The combination of diverse abilities and challenging enemies makes it fun to go back and try different strategies. The game's pacing keeps you constantly engaged with new twists and intense action sequences around every corner. If you're a fan of high-energy shooters and love the idea of combining superhuman powers with intense combat, Trepang 2 is a game you won't regret playing. It's an adrenaline-fueled ride that keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. Visage. Next up on our list is Visage, a psychological horror game that you probably haven't heard of, but absolutely need to experience if you're into spine-chilling stories and eerie atmospheres. In Visage, you explore a creepy, ever-changing house filled with dark secrets and haunting memories. You play as Dwayne, a man trapped in this nightmarish environment, trying to uncover the truth about the house and its previous inhabitants. The story is fragmented and mysterious, revealed through unsettling clues and terrifying encounters. The game's atmosphere is one of its strongest points. Visage is designed to make you feel constantly on edge. The house is dimly lit and full of strange noises, creating an oppressive sense of dread. Every corner you turn, every door you open could reveal something horrifying. The game uses its sound design brilliantly to build tension with whispers, footsteps, and sudden, startling noises. Visage is all about exploration and piecing together the story. The house is full of objects and photographs that give you glimpses into the lives of the people who live there. As you investigate, you'll encounter supernatural events and ghostly apparitions that make the experience genuinely terrifying. The game doesn't rely on cheap jump scares, but instead creates a deep, lingering fear that stays with you. Gameplay involves solving puzzles and managing your sanity. The more time you spend in the dark or witness supernatural events, the more your sanity decreases. This can lead to hallucinations and make the game even more challenging. You need to find light sources and avoid staying in dark areas for too long to keep your sanity in check. Visually, Visage is incredibly detailed. The house feels like a real place, with every room meticulously designed to enhance the horror experience. The realistic graphics make the scares even more effective, immersing you completely in the terrifying world. If you're a fan of psychological horror and enjoy games that build tension through atmosphere and storytelling, Visage is a must-play. It's one of those games that gets under your skin and stays with you long after you've put the controller down. The Medium. Next on our list is The Medium, a psychological horror game that stands out with its unique dual reality gameplay. If you love spooky, story-driven games, this one is definitely for you. In The Medium, you play as Marianne, a woman with the ability to travel between the real world and the spirit world. The story begins with Marianne receiving a mysterious phone call that leads her to an abandoned hotel. Here, she must use her powers to uncover the dark secrets of the past and solve the mystery surrounding the place. One of the coolest things about The Medium is its dual reality mechanic. You often see and interact with both the real world and the spirit world simultaneously. The game splits the screen, showing both realities at the same time. This unique feature allows you to solve puzzles and navigate areas in ways you wouldn't expect, using your abilities to influence both worlds. The atmosphere in The Medium is incredibly immersive. The game's environments are detailed and eerie, with a haunting soundtrack that keeps you on edge. The spirit world is especially creepy, filled with unsettling visuals and ghostly entities that add to the tension. The story is gripping and filled with twists and turns. As you explore the hotel and delve into the spirit world, you uncover the tragic past of its inhabitants and the sinister forces at play. The narrative is deeply engaging, blending horror with emotional depth, and keeping you invested in Marianne's journey. The medium doesn't rely on cheap jump scares. Instead, it builds a sense of dread and unease through its storytelling and atmosphere. The dual reality gameplay adds a layer of complexity and intrigue, making you feel like you're piecing together a dark, supernatural puzzle. If you're a fan of horror games with a strong story and innovative gameplay, the medium is a must-play. It's a chilling and unique experience that will keep you hooked from start to finish. Pentiment. Next on our list is Pentiment, a game that dives deep into historical mystery and narrative-driven adventure. If you enjoy games with rich stories and unique art styles, Pentiment is one you should definitely check out. In Pentiment, you step into the shoes of Andreas Möller, an artist working in a Bavarian abbey during the 16th century. The game's story unfolds as Andreas becomes entangled in a series of mysterious events and murders that shake the abbey and its surrounding village. Your task is to investigate these events, uncover secrets, and make choices that will impact the course of the story. What sets Pentiment apart is its stunning art style. The game looks like a living manuscript, with visuals inspired by illuminated manuscripts and early printed books. This unique art direction creates a visually captivating experience that immerses you in the historical setting. The narrative in Pentiment is deeply engaging. The game is filled with complex characters, each with their own motivations and secrets. As Andreas, you interact with monks, villagers, and nobles, piecing together clues and making critical decisions. The dialogue is well written, and your choices can lead to different outcomes, ensuring that each playthrough can be unique. Gameplay in Pentiment is focused on exploration and investigation. You'll explore beautifully rendered environments, talk to various characters, and gather evidence to solve the mysteries. The game encourages careful observation and thoughtful decision-making, making you feel like a detective in a historical drama. Pentiment also stands out for its attention to historical detail. The game incorporates real historical events and figures, blending them seamlessly with its fictional narrative. This adds depth to the story and makes the world feel authentic and lived in. If you're a fan of narrative-driven games and historical settings, Pentiment is a must-play. Its combination of beautiful art, intriguing story, and engaging gameplay makes it a standout title. Sunset Overdrive. Next up on our list is Sunset Overdrive, a game that combines vibrant visuals, fast-paced action, and a good dose of humor. If you love over-the-top adventures with a unique twist, this game is for you. In Sunset Overdrive, you play as a customizable character who finds themselves in the middle of a city overrun by mutants. The outbreak is caused by a contaminated energy drink, and it's up to you to save the day. The story is light-hearted and full of quirky characters, making it a fun ride from start to finish. What makes Sunset Overdrive stand out is its unique and energetic gameplay. The city of Sunset City is your playground, and you can traverse it with style. You can grind out rails, bounce off cars, and wall run to get around quickly. The movement is incredibly fluid and keeps the action fast-paced and exciting. The game's combat is just as dynamic as its traversal. You have a wide range of crazy weapons at your disposal, from explosive teddy bears to vinyl record launchers. Each weapon feels unique and adds to the chaotic fun of battling mutants and enemy factions. Visually, Sunset Overdrive is a treat. The game features a colorful comic book-like art style that perfectly matches its wacky tone. The city is detailed and filled with vibrant environments, making it a joy to explore. The graphics are sharp and the animations smooth, adding to the overall experience. The story and characters are full of humor and personality. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, often breaking the fourth wall and poking fun at gaming tropes. The dialogue is witty, and the voice acting is top-notch, bringing the characters to life in an entertaining way. There's plenty to do in Sunset Overdrive besides the main story. The city is packed with side missions, challenges, and collectibles. Whether you're helping out a group of LARPers or battling through hordes of mutants, there's always something fun and engaging to do. If you're looking for a game that's all about fun, action, and style, Sunset Overdrive is a must-play. Its unique gameplay, vibrant world, and humorous story make it a standout title that you'll never regret playing. Jump into Sunset City and let the chaos begin. Return of the Obra Dinn. Next on our list is Return of the Obra Dinn, a truly unique and immersive game that will captivate you with its intriguing mystery and distinctive art style. If you love detective stories and puzzles, this game is an absolute must-play. In Return of the Obra Dinn, you play as an insurance investigator for the East India Company. Your task is to board the Obra Dinn, a merchant ship that has mysteriously reappeared after being lost at sea for 5 years. The entire crew is missing or dead, and it's up to you to figure out what happened. The game's most striking feature is its one-bit monochromatic art style, which gives it a distinct look reminiscent of old computer graphics. Despite the simplicity, the visuals are incredibly detailed and atmospheric, perfectly setting the tone for the mystery you need to solve. You're armed with a magical pocket watch called the Memento Mortem, which allows you to see the exact moment of a crew member's death. This ability lets you piece together the events that led to the ship's fate. You'll move through frozen scenes of the past, observing the positions and actions of characters to gather clues. The narrative is non-linear, and you'll need to use your deductive skills to identify each of the 60 crew members and determine how they died. It's like putting together a giant, intricate puzzle. The game doesn't hold your hand, so you'll need to pay close attention to details and think critically to make progress. One of the most rewarding aspects of Return of the Obra Dinn is the sense of accomplishment you get from solving each part of the mystery. The story is rich and complex, filled with twists and turns that keep you hooked. Every time you piece together a part of the puzzle, it feels incredibly satisfying. The sound design and voice acting are also top-notch, adding depth and immersion to the experience. The voices help bring each character to life, and the atmospheric sound effects enhance the eerie, abandoned ship setting. If you're a fan of mystery games and enjoy using your brain to solve complex puzzles, Return of the Obra Dinn is a must-play. Its unique art style, compelling story, and challenging gameplay make it a standout title. Board the Obra Dinn and uncover its dark secrets. You won't be disappointed.
Let me help you.
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Next up is The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, a game that combines stunning visuals with a gripping, mysterious story. If you enjoy immersive, narrative-driven experiences, this one should be on your radar. In The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, you play as Paul Prospero, a detective with a knack for the supernatural. You're drawn to the remote town of Red Creek Valley after receiving a distressing letter from a young boy named Ethan Carter. As you explore the beautifully rendered environment, you uncover the dark secrets surrounding Ethan's disappearance and the eerie events that have taken place. The game is a visual masterpiece. The world of Red Creek Valley is meticulously crafted with lush forests, serene lakes, and abandoned structures that create a hauntingly beautiful atmosphere. The graphics are incredibly detailed, making every location feel real and immersive. The narrative is the heart of the game. It's a non-linear story that you piece together by exploring the environment and solving puzzles. The game doesn't hold your hand, encouraging you to explore at your own pace and uncover the story in your own way. This sense of discovery is one of the most engaging aspects of the game. As you investigate, you'll encounter supernatural occurrences and solve various puzzles. These puzzles are integrated into the story and require you to use your observational skills and think critically. They range from finding hidden objects to piecing together sequences of events, all of which help you understand what happened to Ethan and his family. The atmosphere is enhanced by a haunting soundtrack and excellent sound design. The music and ambient sounds draw you into the world and add to the sense of mystery and tension. The voice acting is also superb, bringing the characters to life and making the story more compelling. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is a relatively short game, but it's packed with a rich, emotional story and memorable moments. It's the kind of game that stays with you long after you finished it, thanks to its beautiful world and intriguing narrative. If you love story-driven games with a touch of the supernatural and a focus on exploration and puzzle solving, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is a must-play. Dive into Red Creek Valley, uncover its secrets, and experience the mystery for yourself. Ryse, Son of Rome. This game set a new standard for visual fidelity and cinematic storytelling when it was released. Ryse, son of Rome, puts you in the sandals of Marius Titus, a Roman soldier seeking revenge for the murder of his family. The game's narrative is gripping, filled with dramatic moments and epic battles. The story unfolds like a blockbuster movie, complete with stunning cutscenes and emotional depth. What truly set Ryse apart at its time was its groundbreaking graphics. The level of detail in the character models, environments, and animations was astonishing. The game's depiction of ancient Rome and its battles were incredibly lifelike, showcasing the power of the Xbox One upon its release, and the facial animations and motion capture performances brought the characters to life in a way that was unprecedented. The combat system in Ryse is both brutal and satisfying. It focuses on timing and precision, allowing you to execute a series of fluid and cinematic moves. The execution sequences in particular were a highlight, with Marius dispatching enemies in visually stunning ways. While some criticized the combat for being repetitive, it was undeniably engaging and visually impressive. Ryse also integrated smart use of the Kinect for voice commands, which, while not essential, added a layer of immersion. You could command your troops or call for volleys of arrows using your voice, enhancing the feeling of being a Roman general. Ryse, son of Rome, was undeniably ahead of its time in terms of graphics and cinematic presentation. It pushed the boundaries of what was possible in video game storytelling and visual design. If you haven't experienced it yet, it's worth playing to see how far ahead it was in its ambition and execution. The Order 1886. Released in 2015, this game was a showcase of technical prowess and cinematic storytelling that pushed the boundaries of what was possible on the PlayStation 4. In The Order 1886, you play as Sir Galahad, a member of an elite order of knights tasked with protecting humanity from supernatural threats in an alternate history Victorian London. The game's story is steeped in rich lore, blending historical elements with fantastical creatures and advanced technology, creating a unique and immersive world. The visuals in The Order 1886 were groundbreaking at the time. The game features stunningly detailed character models, lifelike animations, and photorealistic environments. The attention to detail is astounding, from the intricate textures on clothing and weapons to the atmospheric lighting that brings the foggy streets of London to life. The seamless transition between cutscenes and gameplay creates a truly cinematic experience. One of the game's standout features is its cinematic presentation. The Order 1886 plays like an interactive movie with a strong emphasis on storytelling and character development. The cutscenes are beautifully crafted and well acted, drawing you into the narrative and making you feel like you're part of an epic film. The voice acting and motion capture performances are top-notch, adding depth and emotion to the characters.
Here, give me a hand with this one.
The gameplay is a mix of third-person shooting, melee combat, and quick-time events. The shooting mechanics are solid, with a variety of unique weapons that fit the game's steampunk aesthetic. From powerful rifles to lightning-based guns, each weapon feels satisfying to use. The cover-based shooting system is smooth and intuitive, allowing for tactical and engaging combat. While the game received criticism for its relatively short length and linear structure, it excels in creating a focused and polished experience. The linear design allows for tight pacing and a consistently high level of visual and narrative quality. The immersive world and compelling story make every moment memorable.
The gate is open, we have a way through.
Exploration and environmental storytelling are also key aspects of the game. The richly detailed environments are filled with lore and hidden details that add depth to the world. Taking the time to explore and find collectible items helps to flesh out the story and background of the Order and its enemies. If you appreciate games that push the boundaries of visual fidelity and cinematic storytelling, The Order 1886 is a game you shouldn't overlook. Its combination of stunning graphics, engaging narrative, and immersive world building set a new standard for what video games could achieve. Shenmue 1 and 2. Next up on our list are Shenmue 1 and 2. Released in 1999 and 2001 respectively, these games were pioneers in the open world genre, offering a level of detail and immersion that was unprecedented at the time. In Shenmue 1, you play as Ryo Hazuki, a young martial artist on a quest to avenge his father's murder. The story begins in the fictional town of Yokosuka, Japan, where Ryo's journey starts. The narrative is deeply engaging with a mix of mystery, martial arts, and cultural exploration. The sequel, Shenmue 2, continues Ryo's quest, taking him to Hong Kong and beyond, expanding the story and the world. One of the most groundbreaking aspects of Shenmue was its open world design. The game featured highly detailed environments that felt alive. NPCs had their own daily routines, and you could interact with almost everything in the world, from vending machines and arcade games to shops and random objects. This level of interaction created an immersive experience that made the world feel real. Shenmue also introduced a real-time day-night cycle and dynamic weather systems. Time progressed realistically and the weather changed unpredictably, adding another layer of immersion. These features were ahead of their time and have since become staples in many open-world games. The gameplay in Shenmue combined exploration, combat, and mini-games. The combat system was inspired by Virtua Fighter, allowing for fluid and complex martial arts battles. The game also featured quick-time events, QTEs, where you had to press buttons at the right time during action sequences. This kept the gameplay varied and engaging. One of the unique aspects of Shenmue was its focus on daily life and routine. You could take on part-time jobs, practice your martial arts, and interact with a wide range of characters. This focus on the mundane aspects of life made the world feel more grounded and real, enhancing the overall narrative experience. The visuals in Shenmue were stunning for their time. The detailed character models, realistic environments, and smooth animations were a major leap forward in game graphics. Shenmue 2 expanded on everything that made the first game great. It introduced larger and more diverse environments, a deeper combat system, and even more intricate storytelling. The sequel took Ryo's journey to new heights, offering players an even richer and more immersive experience. If you're a fan of open-world games and appreciate a rich, detailed narrative, Shenmue 1 and 2 are games you shouldn't overlook. Their pioneering mechanics, immersive worlds, and deep storytelling set new standards for the genre and continue to influence games today. Rage. In Rage, you find yourself in a post-apocalyptic world after an asteroid collision decimates most of Earth's population. You play as a survivor emerging from an underground cryogenic facility into a world that has drastically changed. The story revolves around your efforts to navigate this new world, confront hostile factions, and uncover the secrets of the Authority, the game's main antagonists. One of the most impressive aspects of Rage was its graphics. The game was powered by ID Tech 5, which allowed for incredibly detailed environments and smooth textures. The wasteland setting was visually stunning, with vast landscapes, detailed character models, and dynamic lighting that added to the immersive atmosphere. At the time of its release, Rage set new standards for what was possible in game graphics. The gameplay in Rage was a blend of tight first-person shooting mechanics and vehicular combat. The shooting felt satisfying and responsive, with a variety of weapons that could be customized and upgraded. The AI was challenging, making combat encounters intense and engaging. The addition of vehicles added a new dimension to the gameplay. You could drive and upgrade buggies, participate in races, and engage in vehicular combat, which was a refreshing change of pace from traditional FPS gameplay. Rage's open-world design encouraged exploration. The game featured a mix of linear missions and open-world areas where you could take on side quests, discover hidden locations, and interact with NPCs. Its structure allowed for a good balance between a directed narrative experience and the freedom to explore at your own pace. The game also introduced an impressive physics system. The way enemies reacted to gunfire, the destructible environments, and the vehicle dynamics all contributed to a sense of realism and immersion that was ahead of its time. If you're a fan of first-person shooters with a twist of open-world exploration and vehicular combat, Rage is a game you shouldn't overlook. Its groundbreaking graphics, dynamic gameplay, and immersive world made it a standout title that was truly ahead of its time. Yakuza 0. Alright, let's chat about Yakuza 0, a game that's an absolute blast from start to finish. If you love action, drama, and a ton of quirky side activities, this game is for you. In Yakuza 0, you play as two characters, Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima, each with their own gripping storyline set in the vibrant, neon-lit streets of 1980s Japan. The main story is full of intense drama, crime intrigue, and emotional moments, but what makes this game really shine is all the fun you can have outside of the main quests. One of the best things about Yakuza 0 is its combat. It's fast, fluid, and incredibly satisfying. Both Kiryu and Majima have multiple fighting styles you can switch between on the fly, allowing for some really creative and flashy combos. Whether you're brawling in the streets or taking on top bosses, the action is always exciting, but the real magic of Yakuza 0 lies in its side activities. This game is packed with things to do. You can hit up karaoke bars and belt out some tunes, compete in dance battles, or even manage a cabaret club. There's also a slew of mini games like bowling, darts, and arcade classics that can easily eat up hours of your time. The side stories or sub-stories are another highlight. These are little side missions that range from the hilarious to the heartwarming. They add a ton of personality to the game and often lead to some of the most memorable moments. Helping a dominatrix learn how to be more assertive, or teaching a band how to be tough, are just a couple of examples of the wacky adventures you'll find. The world of Yakuza 0 is incredibly detailed and immersive. The bustling streets of Kamurocho and Sotenbori are filled with life and activity. You'll find yourself getting lost in the atmosphere, exploring every corner, and interacting with the colorful locals. Yakuza 0 is all about having fun and experiencing a wild ride. It's a game where you can dive into a deep emotional story or just spend hours goofing around with side activities. If you're looking for a game that offers a perfect blend of action, drama, and pure fun, Yakuza 0 is a must-play. Infamous Second Son. Alright, let's talk about Infamous Second Son, a game that lets you unleash superpowers in the most exhilarating way possible. If you love action-packed gameplay and a vibrant open world, this game is a blast. You play as Delson Rowe, a young guy who discovers he has incredible powers after an encounter with a superhuman. The story follows Delson as he navigates the city of Seattle, taking on the oppressive Department of Unified Protection DUP and discovering the full extent of his abilities. What makes Infamous Second Son so much fun is the superpowers. Delson can absorb powers from other superhumans, giving you a variety of abilities to play with. From smoke and neon to video and concrete, each power set feels unique and offers different ways to approach combat and traversal, blasting enemies with smoke bombs, dashing through vents, and scaling buildings with neon speed never gets old. The combat is dynamic and satisfying. You can mix and match your powers to create devastating combos and take down enemies in style. The game encourages you to be creative, and the more you experiment with your abilities, the more fun you'll have. The powers are flashy and make you feel truly powerful. Seattle is beautifully recreated in Infamous Second Son. The city is alive with detail, from the bustling streets to the iconic landmarks. The open world is a playground for your powers, and exploring it is a joy. There are plenty of side activities, including taking down Duck strongholds, finding hidden collectibles, and graffiti tagging, all of which add to the fun and immersion. One of the coolest aspects of the game is the morality system. Your choices affect the story and how people in the city react to you. Whether you choose to be a hero or embrace your darker side, your decisions have real consequences, adding depth to the gameplay. Visually, Infamous Second Son is stunning. The graphics are top-notch with detailed character models and vibrant effects that make your powers look incredible. The game's lighting and weather effects also add to the atmosphere, making Seattle feel like a real living city. Infamous Second Son is a game that's all about having fun with superpowers. It combines an engaging story, a lively open world, and dynamic gameplay to create an experience that's both thrilling and enjoyable. If you're looking for a game where you can let loose and feel like a superhero or anti-hero, Infamous Second Son is a perfect choice. Dive into the action and enjoy the ride. Spec Ops: The Line. Okay, let's talk about Spec Ops: The Line. This game might seem like a typical military shooter at first, but it's way more than that. In Spec Ops: The Line, you play as Captain Martin Walker. You and your team are sent into Dubai after a huge sandstorm has buried the city. Your mission is to find a missing soldier, Colonel John Conrad, and get the survivors out. As you go through the game, things get really intense. The story is dark and makes you think a lot about what's right and wrong. You make some tough choices that don't always have good outcomes, and these choices change the game in big ways. What makes Spec Ops: The Line unique is how it shows the horrors of war. It doesn't just glorify fighting, but makes you see how hard and terrible war can be. The more you play, the more you see how the characters are affected by what's happening around them. The gameplay is solid. You get to use different weapons and tactics to fight your way through the city. The sand in Dubai plays a big role too. Sometimes you can use the environment to your advantage, like shooting out windows to bury enemies under a pile of sand. The visuals are pretty cool. The city of Dubai, covered in sand and ruined, looks amazing. The game does a great job of making you feel like you're really there, struggling to survive. One of the most memorable things about Spec Ops: The Line is the ending. Without giving too much away, it's the kind of ending that makes you sit back and think about everything you've done in the game. It's powerful and makes you question your actions. So, if you're looking for a game that's more than just shooting, Spec Ops: The Line is a must-play. It's a gripping story that shows the dark side of war and makes you think about the choices you make. Give it a try, it's an experience you won't forget. Metro Exodus. Alright, let's talk about Metro Exodus, a game that's all about surviving in a post-apocalyptic world. In Metro Exodus, you play as Artyom, a guy who's been living in the underground metro tunnels of Moscow because the surface world is too dangerous, but now Artyom believes there's more out there, so he sets off on a journey across Russia to find a new place to live. This game is different because it's not just about hiding in tunnels anymore. You get to explore the outside world, and it's a mix of beautiful and dangerous. There are forests, deserts, and snowy mountains, all filled with mutated creatures and other threats. One cool thing about Metro Exodus is the story. You travel with a group of survivors on a big train called the Aurora. Along the way, you meet different characters and face tough challenges. The story is all about hope and finding a new home, and it really makes you care about the people you're traveling with. The gameplay is intense. You need to scavenge for supplies like ammo and filters for your gas mask because everything is scarce. You also have to keep your weapons in good shape and be careful about when to fight and when to sneak around enemies. The game looks amazing. The environments are detailed and show the beauty and danger of a world that's been abandoned and reclaimed by nature. The changing seasons and weather make each area feel unique and alive. One of my favorite moments in Metro Exodus is when you're traveling on the Aurora and you get to see the changing landscape. It gives you a sense of progression and hope that there's something better out there. If you're looking for a game with a gripping story, intense survival gameplay, and stunning visuals, Metro Exodus is a great choice. It's an epic journey through a dangerous but beautiful world, and it's an experience you won't forget. Give it a try and join Artyom on his quest for a new home. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Alright, let's dive into Kingdom Come Deliverance, a game that takes you back to medieval times for a truly unique adventure. In Kingdom Come Deliverance, you play as Henry, a blacksmith's son, living in the Kingdom of Bohemia in the year 1403. Life is simple until one day, your village is attacked by mercenaries and your family is killed. Seeking revenge, you end up in the middle of a huge war and a fight for your homeland. What makes this game stand out is its commitment to realism. There's no magic or dragons here, just a detailed, historically accurate world. You have to eat, sleep, and take care of your wounds. Even learning to fight takes practice. The combat is challenging but rewarding with a focus on timing and technique. The world of Bohemia is beautifully crafted. You can explore vast forests, bustling villages, and grand castles. The attention to detail is amazing, from the architecture to the way people dress and talk. It feels like you've stepped back in time. One of the coolest things about Kingdom Come Deliverance is the story. It's not just about big battles tales and heroic deeds, it's also about everyday life in the medieval world. You'll find yourself doing all sorts of tasks, from hunting and trading to solving local disputes. Your choices matter, and they can affect how people see you and how the story unfolds. The game is also packed with side quests and activities. You might help a monk find his lost book, brew potions, or even participate in a medieval tournament. These quests are well written and often have multiple ways to complete them, adding depth to your adventure. The sound design is top-notch. The clanging of swords, the rustling of leaves, and the ambient sounds of the village all immerse you in the world. The music is fittingly medieval, enhancing the atmosphere. One of my favorite moments in Kingdom Come Deliverance was when I first won a duel after spending a lot of time practicing. This sense of achievement was huge because the game doesn't make anything easy for you. It's all about persistence and skill. If you're looking for a game that offers a deep, realistic medieval experience with a rich story and engaging gameplay, Kingdom Come Deliverance is a must-play. It's a journey through history that feels authentic and challenging, and it's an experience you won't soon forget. Give it a go, and step into the shoes of Henry as he navigates the turbulent world of medieval Bohemia. Max Payne 3. Alright, let's dive into Max Payne 3, a game you need to play before you die. Released by Rockstar Games in 2012, this game puts you in the shoes of Max Payne, a former cop with a troubled past, now working as a bodyguard in Brazil. It's gritty, intense, and full of action. Imagine being in the middle of a high-stakes gunfight, diving in slow motion while bullets fly around. That's what Max Payne 3 is all about. The game's signature bullet time mechanic lets you slow down time during gunfights, making you feel like a total action hero. It's super cool and adds a lot of style to the gameplay. The story is dark and gripping. Max is trying to protect a wealthy family in Sao Paulo, but things quickly go south. The plot twists and turns, and you get to see Max's struggles and personal demons. The game setting is another highlight. You go from the luxurious high rises of Sao Paulo to the gritty favelas, each environment packed with detail. The graphics are impressive, and the game's cinematic style makes it feel like you're watching a blockbuster movie. What makes Max Payne 3 stand out is its intense action and storytelling. The shootouts are thrilling, and the narrative keeps you hooked from start to finish. It's a game that doesn't hold back, delivering a raw and emotional experience. If you haven't played Max Payne 3 yet, you're in for a wild ride. It's a game that combines intense action with a powerful story, making it a must-play before you die. Titanfall 2. Alright, let's talk about Titanfall 2, a game you absolutely need to play before you die. Developed by Respawn Entertainment and released in 2016, this game is a first-person shooter that's all about fast-paced action and giant robots. You play as Jack Cooper, a rifleman who ends up piloting a Titan named BT-7274. Imagine running on walls, double jumping through the air, and then hopping into a massive, heavily armed robot. The movement in Titanfall 2 is smooth and fluid, making every battle feel dynamic and exciting. The graphics are sharp, and the levels are beautifully designed, from lush forests to high-tech facilities. The story mode is surprisingly awesome. Jack and BT form a bond that's both heartwarming and fun to watch. The campaign is full of memorable moments like epic battles and clever puzzles. One mission even lets you travel through time, which is super cool and adds a unique twist to the gameplay. Combat is a blast. On foot, you're quick and agile with a range of weapons and gadgets. In your Titan, you feel powerful with heavy firepower and cool abilities. The game does a great job of balancing these two modes, keeping things fresh and exciting. What makes Titanfall 2 special is how it combines fast movement with intense action. The multiplayer is also fantastic, with different Titans to choose from and a variety of game modes that keep you coming back for more. If you haven't played Titanfall 2 yet, you're missing out on one of the best shooters around. It's a must-play for anyone who loves fast-paced action and giant robots. Give it a shot, and you'll see why it's so highly praised. Outer Wilds. Alright, let's dive into Outer Wilds, a game you definitely need to play before you die. Developed by Mobius Digital and released in 2019, this game is a unique blend of exploration and mystery. You play as an astronaut exploring a tiny solar system stuck in a 22-minute time loop. Imagine waking up, popping into your spaceship, and blasting off to explore different planets. Each one is filled with its own secrets and wonders. The graphics are charming and give you a real sense of adventure. The story in Outer Wilds is revealed through your exploration. There's no hand holding you learn by doing and discovering. You're trying to uncover the mystery behind the time loop and what happened to an ancient alien civilization. The game's writing is fantastic, making every new piece of information feel rewarding and intriguing. Gameplay is all about exploration and puzzle solving. You fly your spaceship, walk around planets, and use tools like a signal scope and a translation device. The controls are intuitive, and the physics of flying your ship are realistic, making every landing and takeoff feel satisfying. What makes Outer Wilds so special is the sense of wonder and discovery. Every time loop you learn something new, bringing you closer to solving the big mystery. The game encourages curiosity and experimentation, making each playthrough feel fresh and exciting. For me, playing Outer Wilds is like being a kid again, exploring a new world and uncovering its secrets. The story is deeply engaging and the exploration is incredibly rewarding. It's a game that makes you think and feel, leaving a lasting impression. If you haven't played Outer Wilds yet, you're in for a treat. It's a must-play for anyone who loves exploration, mystery, and a great story. Trust me, this game will take you on an unforgettable journey. A Plague Tale games. Alright, let's talk about A Plague Tale Requiem, a game that throws you right into the heart of medieval France during one of its darkest times. This game is all about surviving in a world torn apart by the plague, and it's got that gritty, realistic feel that makes you appreciate the harsh realities of the time period. You play as Amisha, a young girl who's got the tough job of protecting her little brother Hugo. The plague is everywhere, and rats, we're talking thousands of them, are a constant, terrifying threat. These rats aren't just a creepy background detail, they're central to the gameplay and story. They swarm, they devour, and they force you to think on your feet. What's really cool about Plague Tale Requiem is how it captures the essence of the medieval era. The game world is meticulously detailed, from the crumbling villages to the dense, ominous forests. You can almost smell the damp earth and feel the weight of the oppressive, disease-ridden air. It's not just about fighting enemies, it's about surviving in a world where danger lurks around every corner.
Lucas, I feel my mind.
Stealth plays a huge role here. You can't just run and swinging a sword. You've got to be smart, use the environment to your advantage, and outthink both human enemies and the relentless rat swarms. The puzzles are clever and often nerve-wracking, making you think like someone truly desperate to survive. And let's not forget the historical backdrop. The game does a fantastic job of weaving in elements of medieval life, the impact of the plague, the power of the church, and the sheer struggle to find safety and stability. It's educational in a way that doesn't feel forced, giving you a real sense of what life might have been like during this dark chapter of history. So, if you're looking for a game that immerses you in the gritty, unforgiving world of medieval France, A Plague Tale Requiem is a must-play. It's intense, emotional, and a true testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. Give it a try and see if you can navigate the perilous path of survival alongside Amisha and Hugo. A Way Out. Okay, so A Way Out is one of those games that completely redefines what a co-op experience should be. If you haven't played it yet, this is a game that you need to experience with a friend. And not just any friend, someone who's down for teamwork, because this game absolutely hinges on that. The whole point of A Way Out is that you can't play it solo. And that's what makes it so special. The story follows two characters, Leo and Vincent, who are both locked up in prison, but for very different reasons. Their paths cross, and from that point forward, you and your co-op partner are basically living out a full-blown prison break movie. Seriously, it's like the Shawshank Redemption meets Prison Break, but with more action, more heart, and some wild twists. What sets A Way Out apart is how seamlessly it blends its storytelling with its gameplay. It's split screen, so you're constantly seeing what both characters are doing at the same time, whether you're sitting on the same couch or playing online. It's this really unique dynamic where you might be sneaking through a corridor while your partner is distracting a guard, or you're working together to pull off some complex escape plan. And I mean, when's the last time a game forced you to literally time your movements with someone else to get through a section? It adds this whole layer of tension and fun that makes every moment feel like a shared experience. The real magic of A Way Out is in how it makes you care about these characters. Leo's a hothead, a rough around the edges kind of guy, while Vincent is the more calm, calculated one. But as you play, you start to see their layers peel back. The game does an amazing job of balancing action-packed prison escapes with quieter, more emotional moments. You're not just trying to bust out of jail, there's a deeper story about family, revenge, and redemption that keeps pulling you in. You start to care about why these two guys are risking everything, and it makes the stakes feel that much higher. One of the coolest things about A Way Out is how varied the gameplay is. It's not just all stealth and sneaking around, though there's plenty of that. You've got car chases, shootouts, mini games, even moments where you're just chilling and playing darts or arm wrestling with your co-op partner. The pacing is spot on because it's constantly switching things up. Just when you think you've gotten into a rhythm, the game throws something new at you. And all of it is designed to keep you and your partner in sync, whether you're working together to distract guards, solve puzzles, or fight off enemies. But the real jaw-dropper is how the game ends. Without spoiling anything, let's just say that A Way Out pulls off one of the boldest moves in recent gaming history. The ending is an emotional gut punch, and it completely flips the script on everything you've been working toward. It's the kind of moment that'll leave you and your co-op partner sitting in stunned silence, or maybe even arguing about what just happened. It's bold, it's unexpected, and it makes A Way Out unforgettable. And look, we have to talk about the co-op mechanics here because it's so integral to the game's design. This isn't just a game where your friend tags along for the ride, you literally can't do anything without them. And from the simplest tasks like lifting objects to the more complex escape plans, everything requires teamwork. And it's not always about perfect synchronization either. Sometimes one of you might have to make a tough call while the other watches, and that tension adds so much to the game. It's not just player 1 and player 2, both of you have your own roles, your own responsibilities, and that sense of partnership is what makes A Way Out feel so unique. On top of all that, the game's presentation is fantastic. The cinematography in A Way Out makes you feel like you're part of a high-stakes action movie. The way the camera moves, how it shifts focus between the two characters during key moments, and how it splits the screen to give you different perspectives, it's all done so fluidly. And the environments? Whether you're sneaking through the gritty, claustrophobic prison or racing through wide-open countryside, the game looks gorgeous. It keeps you immersed in the experience the entire way through. In the end, A Way Out is simply a one-of-a-kind experience. It's not just a game, it's an emotional, cinematic adventure that you and a friend have to tackle together. It's the kind of game that sticks with you, especially with that ending. And while it's short, the memories and moments it creates are unforgettable. It's proof that co-op games can be just as impactful, if not more, than traditional single-player experiences. Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Now, Enslaved Odyssey to the West is one of those games that just didn't get enough love when it dropped, and I still don't understand why. Like, this is one of those hidden gems that you pick up years later and wonder how you missed it in the first place. Developed by Ninja Theory, yeah, the same team behind Hellblade. This game came out in 2010, but even now, it still holds up. It's got this post-apocalyptic world that's both gorgeous and grim, and at its heart, it's really all about the relationship between the two main characters, Monkey and Trip. The story's loosely based on Journey to the West, which, if you don't know, is this ancient Chinese novel with some really epic mythology, but the way Enslaved translates it to this futuristic setting is pretty unique. You play as Monkey, this tough-as-nails brute who's been captured by slavery, rivers. After a wild escape, he ends up tied literally thanks to a slave headband to Trip, a tech-savvy girl who needs his help to get back home. The dynamic between the two is what makes the game so compelling. At first, Monkey's just doing it because he has no choice. The headband will kill him if he doesn't help her, but over time, they develop this really interesting, believable bond. What I love about Enslaved is how it blends action and storytelling. Monkey's this total badass in combat, jumping, climbing, smashing robots with his staff, but the game knows when to slow down and let the characters breathe. The dialogue between Monkey and Trip feels natural and human, even in the middle of all the chaos. Their relationship evolves in a way that just feels real, you know. They start out as strangers forced to work together, but by the end, there's genuine care and understanding between them. Ninja Theory's always been great at crafting character-driven stories, and Enslaved is no exception. And visually, man, this game is stunning for its time. The world is overgrown with nature, almost like a beautiful ruin. It's one of those post-apocalyptic settings that's more vibrant than dreary, which feels like a fresh take compared to all the dark, gray wastelands you usually get. The environments are massive and well-designed, so it feels like you're really traveling through this broken world. Plus, the platforming sections are fun. It's not super challenging, but it gives you that feeling of momentum as you leap and climb across these crazy structures. The combat, though, let's talk about that for a second. It's straightforward but satisfying. Monkey uses a staff to smash through waves of robots, and the combat feels weighty and impactful. There's a nice mix of melee and ranged attacks, so it doesn't get stale. Plus, Trip's not just a damsel in distress, she plays a real role in helping you out, using her tech skills to distract enemies or solve puzzles. It adds a little bit of strategy to the whole experience. Now, the one thing some people didn't love is that the game's a little on the short side, maybe 10 to 12 hours, but honestly, it's the kind of story that doesn't need to be dragged out. It's tight, focused, and by the time you hit the end, you're left with a really powerful narrative payoff. Speaking of which, the ending is one of those, whoa, didn't see that coming moments. I won't spoil it, but let's just say it leaves you thinking long after the credits roll. Life is Strange 2.
We're different, but we can't go back.
The original Life is Strange was great, no doubts, but I see many people ignoring the second part for, well, obvious reasons, but I still think it's a great game. Life is Strange 2 is one of those games that hit me harder than I expected. It's not just another coming-of-age story, it's a road trip filled with heartache, tough choices, and moments that really make you pause and think. You play as Sean Diaz, a teenage kid who's forced to go on the run with his little brother Daniel after a tragic incident changes their lives in an instant. The core of the game is the bond between these two brothers, and man, the way it evolves feels so real. You're not just making decisions for yourself, you're shaping Daniel, who looks up to you and reacts to everything you do.
We'll be fine.
The game throws you into a lot of different environments, from forests to deserts to small towns, and each place has its own vibe. You meet all these different people along the way, and some are genuinely kind while others not so much. It keeps you on edge, not knowing who to trust, and that tension makes the quieter moments between Sean and Daniel hit even harder. By the time I finished, I felt like I'd been through something with these characters. It's emotional, sometimes brutal, but always genuine. If you're into games that make you care about the people in them and force you to face some tough moral questions, Life is Strange 2 delivers in a way that feels deeply personal.
Daniel? Leave me alone! Do it, Daniel! No!
Call of Juarez Gunslinger.
Making my way past the Castle of Fallen.
Call of Juarez Gunslinger is one of those games that knows exactly what it's doing and just has fun with it. It's a fast-paced, over-the-top Wild West shooter, but what really sets it apart is how it tells its story. You play as Silas Greaves, an old bounty hunter telling tales of his legendary exploits, and the whole game is framed as him recounting these stories in a saloon. What's cool is that Silas is kind of an unreliable narrator, so the story can change on the fly, sometimes literally. 1 second you're in the middle of a shootout, and the next, the environment shifts or enemies pop out of nowhere because Silas forgot to mention them. The gunplay is where the game shines. It's all about quick reflexes, racking up combos, and pulling off slick headshots in slow motion. It's super satisfying, especially when you get into the flow of it. The duels are a highlight too. You're not just mindlessly shooting, there's a tension to drawing your gun at the perfect moment, and when you nail it, it feels awesome.
Man, that you killed him.
What I really liked is how the game doesn't take itself too seriously. The tone is light and full of Western cliches, but in a fun way. It's all exaggerated, from the insane number of outlaws you gun down to the larger-than-life characters you meet or shoot along the way, like Billy the Kid and Jesse James. It feels like you're playing through a comic book version of the Old West with every moment turned up to 11. Call of Juarez Gunslinger isn't long, but it packs in a lot of fun in its short runtime. It's one of those games where you just want to keep replaying certain sections, because the combat is so satisfying. If you're looking for a game that's all about stylish, arcade-style shooting with a quirky twist on storytelling, this one's definitely worth your time. The Forgotten City. The Forgotten City is one of those underrated gems that really deserves more attention. Originally a Skyrim mod, it evolved into a full game that's all about unraveling a mystery set in an ancient Roman city trapped in a time loop. And the catch? If even one person in the city sins, everyone dies. So no pressure, right? The game's all about talking to people, piecing together clues, and figuring out who's going to break the golden rule. It's less about combat and more about using your brain and paying attention to details. Every time the loop resets, you carry the knowledge forward, which makes every conversation and discovery feel important.
Everyone will die.
What's really cool is how it blends history, philosophy, and morality. You're constantly faced with tough choices, and the game doesn't hold your hand. You need to think through the consequences of your actions. And the setting feels alive, and the way it weaves in ancient Roman culture makes it feel unique compared to most narrative-driven games. The Forgotten City is smart, engaging, and has one of the best use of time loops in gaming. It's the kind of game that sneaks up on you and leaves you thinking about it long after it's over. Definitely a must-play for fans of mystery and choice-driven games.
Salve, friend?
Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is one of the most underrated open-world games out there. It's basically a love letter to Hong Kong action films, with you playing as Wei Shen, an undercover cop trying to take down the triads from the inside. The story is a solid mix of crime drama and personal stakes, with Wei constantly balancing his duty as a cop and his loyalty to the people he's infiltrated. What really sets Sleeping Dogs apart from other open-world games is the combat. It's got a slick hand-to-hand system that's more like a martial arts brawler than your standard shootout fest. Think Batman Arkham style, but with a focus on brutal takedowns and environmental attacks. You're slamming guys into fish tanks, car doors, and pretty much anything that's lying around, and it never gets old. The driving is also top-notch. Hong Kong is your playground, and the game gives you a ton of vehicles to mess around with. There's this cool action movie feel to the way chases are handled, where you can hijack cars mid-drive or shoot out tires in slow motion. It keeps things fast-paced and fun.
Holy shit, Tyler, what the fuck drive? Wait, drive.
What a lot of people miss about Sleeping Dogs is the story depth. It's not just about taking down a crime syndicate, it's about identity, loyalty, and how far you'll go before you lose yourself. Wei's journey is compelling because he's constantly torn between his undercover mission and the brotherhood he's building with the gang. It's got some real emotional moments that catch you off guard, and the setting Hong Kong feels alive. The city's bustling with activity, from neon-lit streets to shady back alleys. It's one of the few games where the location feels like a character itself, with all the food stands, street vendors, and cultural details adding to the immersion. If you slept on Sleeping Dogs, it's time to wake up. It's got tight combat, a killer story, and a world that feels genuinely alive. One of the best crime dramas in gaming, hands down.